All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday, and you know what that means. Time to do the Tao now. Change your thoughts and change your life. We're reading from Dr. Wayne W. Dyer's Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, Living the Wisdom of the Tao. And last week we had a wonderful reading and discovery, learning session, wisdom gaining opportunity. We were talking about living self-mastery, pertaining to what the 33rd verse of the Tao Te Ching talked about, and then our extrapolations as well as Wayne Dyer's, and it was so wonderful. I'm super excited for today's topic and chapter titled Living the Great Way, which is focused on and extrapolating from the 34th verse of the Tao Te Ching. So without dialoguing and delaying any longer, let's dive right into the 34th verse of the Tao Te Ching and see what we can gain, see what wisdom we can get to increase the quality of our lives, and in turn, increase the quality of the lives of those around us. Because that's what we're here for. That's why we're doing this, ladies and gentlemen. So the 34th verse of the Tao Te Ching. The great way is universal. It can apply to the left or the right. All beings depend on it for life. Even so, it does not take possession of them. It accomplishes its purpose, but makes no claim for itself. It covers all creatures like the sky, but does not dominate them. All things return to it as to their home, but it does not lord it over them. Thus it may be called great. The sage imitates this conduct by not claiming greatness. The sage achieves greatness. What a fine verse, ladies and gentlemen. And what stands out to me there, all of these verses have been wonderful, but there's certain ones that really stand out to me because of the type of wisdom that I'm interested in. But the universal nature of the Tao, the great way, the great force of, great universal intelligence, whatever it is you want to call it, is being described here by, it can be applied to both the left and the right. All beings depend on it for life. But even though it doesn't take ownership over the beings that are dependent on it, because it is a part of all of the beings anyways. And that makes no claim for itself, although accomplishing its purpose. This is a lesson to us in a way, because like it says, the sage imitates this kind of conduct. And so if we can accomplish our purpose, but not make, so many claims for ourselves and cover many things, but have no interest in domination over them, it's powerful. But let's see, by not claiming greatness, the sage achieves greatness. Let's see what Dr. Wayne Dyer has to say about this most fascinating 34th verse of the Tao Te Ching. This chapter titled, Living the Great Way. In this verse, Wayne Dyer begins, Lao-tzu asks you to reevaluate your perception of greatness. Reevaluate how you see this idea that we all throw around as greatness and what it may mean in this higher, more, spiritual, mystical context, philosophical. Typical definitions, Wayne Dyer continues, tend to center around the amount of fame and fortune that an individual accomplishes in his or her lifetime. As the previous verse emphasized, the power to dominate and control others can also be used as a benchmark of this quality. Commanders of huge armies and heads of state who attract worldwide attention are considered great. And all that, isn't that odd, considering what we've began to understand from this research in the wisdom of the Tao and the wisdom of the ages that we do on Wednesdays, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, great men or women are often thought of as having been instrumental in affecting the course of human events in a positive way, making the world a better place on either a local or global level. Greatness, then, is a claim made by or for individuals who stand out from the crowd. Interesting. Verse 34 of the Tao Te Ching describes greatness in an entirely different way, a new way, ladies and gentlemen. Such a quality is the Tao, which is so all-encompassing that every plant, creature, and human originates and lives because of this force. And remember, the Tao must remain nameless. We're just giving it a name in order to convey this wisdom. So the force, whatever it is that is doing all things and leaving nothing, doing nothing, but yet leaving nothing undone. This all-encompassing, every plant, creature lives because of it, yet doesn't seek to dominate anyone or anything. This force, or the Tao, doesn't ask for recognition of any kind, for it has no interest in fame or being thanked for all that it provides. And I'll add, those are human characteristics that we make up. Dyer continues, it is this indifference towards notoriety that makes true greatness. Fascinating. When you change the way you think about this quality, greatness, you'll see your world in an entirely new way. And that's what we're doing here. We're changing our thoughts, changing our life. To see, to change the way we look at things, and the things we look at change. Even though someone right next to you may still be stuck in their own vision or what they want to see. You'll no longer be gauging, Dyer continues, appearances or accumulations, and you won't notice how much power you or anyone else uses to exact dominance or control over others. Rather, your new way of thinking, sorry for the camera glitchiness there, your new way of thinking will allow you to look for the unfolding of this force, of this greatness, this great way of the Tao in everyone you see and in everything you see. Perhaps for the very first time, you'll notice greatness in others, as well as yourself. In terms of the Tao, that includes all things. And so when you begin to gain this new understanding of this universal quality, or this, all-encompassing greatness that we are all a part of, you begin to take this new, you'll see the importance in everyone. He's like, after you change, Dyer continues, after you change your unculturated views of greatness, you'll see the importance of everyone, including those individuals you've previously identified as difficult or unreasonable. And this is the most distinct change in your life. When you can get to this level to where you have this new perspective, a lack of judging and more of that of, understanding. We're all on our own path. Everybody is where they're supposed to be for what it is that they need to go through to get to where it is that they need to go in their journey. And then, you start to see the importance in everyone, despite the individuals we previously thought of as difficult or unreasonable. And that's when you can begin to really feel a sense of peace and comfort and harmony going through day-to-day stuff, daily life. And that's a really big change. I think that's important for people to try to get to through practice, continual practice. This doesn't come instantly. You'll begin to see that the holiness, Dyer continues, that ferments the galaxies is working in you and in me and in everyone. You'll begin to trust that greatness is every person's heritage. And not just every person's, but everything. And it's fascinating. Then you start to really look at simple things with a new awe, a new awe. And so Wayne Dyer continues, you'll begin to trust that greatness, that the Tao is everywhere. Therefore, this quality will be visible in all things and people if you have the eyes to see it, if you have the, thoughts and new awareness. Here is my suggestions, Wayne Dyer says, for applying the 34th verse of the Tao Te Ching to your everyday life. And this is why I recommend you get this book for yourself to put it on your bookshelf, because everyone needs a bookshelf, and this will be a great first one if you don't have a shelf yet. I got it linked below in the description, as well as my landscape paintings if you're interested in one of those. But that's the great reason to have this book, is at the end of every one of these, this was a quicker one, but at the end of every one of these, he gives us to do the Tao now in a way that we can try to apply this kind of wisdom into our life. And that's what we really want to do. It's one thing to, philosophize about it and talk about it, but to go out and practice, that's when the real change begins. So, number one suggestion from Dr. Wayne Dyer, coming from his thoughts about what Lao-tzu said to us 2,500 years ago. Discontinue deciding, oh, this is so good, what anyone else should or shouldn't be doing. Discontinue deciding what anyone else should or shouldn't be doing. That could be a challenge in some areas. Other areas, it might be a lot easier for us to practice this. Wayne Dyer describes, avoid thoughts and activities that involve telling people who are perfectly capable of making their own choices what to do. In your family, remember that you do not own anyone. The poet Khalil Gibran reminds us, your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. That's a deep one. That's a pretty mystical one there. The sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. Fascinating. This is always true, Wayne Dyer says. In fact, disregarding any inclination to dominate in all. Disregard any inclination to dominate in all of your relationships. Listen rather than expound. It's a great secret there. Listen rather than expound. Pay attention to yourself when you're having judgmental opinions and see where self-attention takes you. That's a fascinating one as well. When you replace an ownership mentality with one of allowing, you'll begin to see the true unfolding of the Tao in yourself, but not only in yourself, but in other people. And from that moment on, you'll be free of this frustration with those who don't behave according to your ego-dominated expectations. And, it's like always wanting to control and make things, you want to be right. Sometimes that's the simplest thing, is just giving up. That was one of the things Wayne Dyer joked about. This is like the 4 words that will solve, any kind of argument. And it's like, you're right about that. He's like, regardless of whether you think they're right about it or not, it's not, it's not your job. Like he's saying here, avoid the activities of telling people who are perfectly capable of making their own choices what to do. It's not your job to be running somebody else's life. And so you're right about that, whether you disagree or not. And they'll say, well, you continue to do it. And you go, yeah, you're right about that. I love that one. That's a good, because that's kind of letting go from what he was describing there, your ego-dominated expectations and this frustration with people who don't behave according to the way we think that it should be going. But, the control, the domination that we think, but you know where I'm going with that. Continuing, discover a new definition of greatness. Offer yourself, and this is, I think, really what this chapter here in this verse was all about, this talk, is discovering this new understanding of what greatness means and is, relating to the great force or the great way, the Tao, whatever you want to call it, God, universal intelligence, great spirit, Ra. Discover a new definition of greatness. Offer yourself a definition that doesn't use any standards of appearance or traditional external measures of success. Notice those who give much, boast little, nurture others, and decline recognition or credit, and put them in your greatness file. And, you know, I'll cut in here. Being keen of mind is very important. I think I might have mentioned this the last few episodes. It's like notice and keep control of what you're thinking. Sometimes, you know, our minds can get carried away with nonsense too often, and we spend a lot of our mental energy and time not going in the direction we want to go with our thoughts. Remember, what you think about is what expands, because that's what you eventually act on. And so build a greatness file. You should be noticing, you know, when you're going through life and you're using this new definition of greatness. This is how I at least try to discover this wisdom and use it in my own life, is I'm keen of where my thoughts are as much as I can be. You know, nobody's perfect with that. Then you'd be a master. But and you're noticing these kind of things that we're talking about as you're going throughout your day to day. And then you can begin to file certain things away, like it's talking about here. You know, well, offer yourself a definition that doesn't use standards of appearance or traditional external measures of success. And notice people who are in this new definition of greatness or flowing in harmony with the great way, who, you know, give much, but they boast little, and they nurture others and decline the recognition or credit. And put these, you know, behaviors and abilities, or even, you know, cultivated abilities, put that in the greatness file. Encourage yourself, Wayne Dyer continues, to practice these same kinds of behaviors. Begin noticing how the Tao is always flowing in an all-providing, non-boasting, non-demanding, non-judgmental, non-possessing manner. You can see how great that truly is. Can you? He's asking. I kind of edited it there and said, you can see how great that truly is. But can you see it, ladies and gentlemen? Leave me a comment. Let me know if you're getting value. And if you are, consider subscribing and let me know what you think. See them out. Seek them out. There are many people in your daily life that are doing this definition of greatness, but it's being able to see it and then being able to do it your own self in order to, you know, it says seek them out and acknowledge them while quietly emulating what they do. Remember that a great sage never claims ownership of greatness. Powerful. Never claims ownership of greatness. So when you change your definition, you'll see that quality cropping up everywhere, especially within yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic wisdom this time. A little less energetic, more smooth, and but man, this is a, you know, these last two readings, all of these really, but these last two have been really key, to the point, simple ways, at least I think, for describing a, you know, a new way about going about life using a new awareness, a new understanding. So to finish up here, like always, Wayne Dyer gives us a do the Tao now. Like I said, a way that we can apply this wisdom into our lives practically. So he says, make a decision to spend a day seeking out several people who fit the model of this verse of the Tao Te Ching. Silently convey to them that you sense their greatness. And I think that might even mean without audibly saying anything. Just kind of think it. That you sense their greatness as an unfolding of the Tao. Then notice how your interactions with them differ when you're not making judgments based on their age, title, conduct, manner of dress, height, weight, skin color, different affiliations or beliefs or whatever it is. Make a decision to seek out and understand and discover a new definition of greatness, ladies and gentlemen. Boom to wisdom. Boom to knowledge. That was a wonderful one. I think nice and short too. Nice and short. The one previous, I think we almost went over 40 minutes. Pages were a little longer. I like the long ones and the short ones, ladies and gentlemen, because they're all fantastic. All fantastic. But this new definition of greatness and living a new way through understanding the great way. I'll finish here with a recap of the verse itself. So with the context of what we just read now, the great way is universal, applies to the left or the right. So thinking about greatness and this new definition of flowing, this ability for us to go with the great way, applying to the left or the right, all beings depend on it for life. Even so, does not take possession of them. It accomplishes its purpose, but makes no claim for itself. Covers all things, says creatures, but I'll say things, like the sky does. But it does not dominate them. Some might say the sky is dominating when it storms, but all things return to it, this force, this source. I added those two. As their home, but it does not lord it over them. The sage imitates this conduct by not claiming greatness. We seek, we achieve, not seek. I was getting ready to. The sage, by not claiming greatness, achieves greatness. Beep. Beep, ladies and gentlemen. But it's just fantastic. The continual great wisdom that comes out of these. And, it's really helped me change my life as I go through my day-to-day. And that's really what we're here for, ladies and gentlemen. We're seeking to achieve and maintain happiness through enlightenment, a greater understanding, a greater awareness, a greater perspective, a new way to look at life through this, this new way to think. Change your thoughts, change your life. So like I was saying, continue, ladies and gentlemen, to seek to achieve and maintain happiness through enlightenment. Seek to discover the hidden wisdom of the ages and the wisdom of the Tao, like we did today. And, begin to make happiness the way, the activity, the, what you bring to life rather than what you're seeking to get as a result from life. So, we're always seeking to get where it is that we want to be. And then when we get there, we think we'll be happy. But if we make happiness the way, ladies and gentlemen, then the goal becomes irrelevant. And we're already where we want it to be, and we can enjoy the entire journey. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate everybody who takes time out of their day to spend with me, Dr. Wayne Dyer, Lao-tzu, and all the wonderful authors and poets and the wisdom of the ages and any other things and topics and readings and ideas that we might get into. It means a lot to me. And I really hope you got value out of this. If you did, consider subscribing and smash the like button. Expand the description. And I've got this book linked below, as well as a link to my landscape paintings and C60 Purple Power, an excellent antioxidant. And we'll be back in the future tomorrow for Wednesday Wisdom, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.